Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, the preeminent voice of natural medicine for our time. And it is so true. Dr. Dean's voice even has healing tones in it, which I think is amazing. Not only to me, not just the voice of her healing tones, but the voice of her wisdom, her insight, her amazing, incredible journey to distill and to define the cellular requirements of the body for mineralization and supplementation, and then to turn around and formulate said minerals and supplements into bioavailable, fully digested, wonderfully efficient formulas that actually support people in ways, untold ways. And we hear about the untold ways every single week on this radio program. I'm Ginny Sanders. I'll be your co-host tonight, along with every Monday. Dr. Carolyn Dean and I are here talking about the things that you care about, which is your body, your health, your mind, your well-being, your family, your community, and how we can all live together in joyful ascension of love and great vibrations while people around us are sick and don't feel well. And the answer is we've got to get everybody feeling well. And that's Dr. Dean's mission. It's what she's devoted her life's work to. And it's what we're here to support and talk about. You'll be able to talk with Dr. Dean herself during the call-in portion of our show at 646-558-8657. And then a long, tedious ID number after that to get into the Zoom call. But we'll go over that later. It's probably on your YouTube screen. It was in our email. It's here at Dream Vision 7 Radio. You can find it easily enough. And then, of course, we'll take the mailbag questions that we've been amassing since the last show. We have our delightful producer here, Rachel. We've got Deborah on the YouTube channel. So you've got a whole host of characters along with you. And then, of course, we have our amazing YouTube audience that's always with us, chiming in, giving their great information. Lots of testimonials, so much to cover, and so much goodness to share with you. Because what Dr. Dean knows and has taught us all consistently, repeatedly, ad nauseum, it seems maybe sometimes, but not really, we can never hear it enough, is the body has its own intelligent design, and it can heal itself and prevent itself and protect itself and defend itself and grow itself and renew itself in incredible ways if we just give it the basic building blocks. And that's what we talk about. And if you don't have the confidence to know that right now, we do, because we've been doing it for years and years and years and years, and we hear it every single week. My favorite statement, Dr. Dean saved my life. So true. My life and many others. Well, I mean, my life. Okay, I'll throw my life on the pot. She probably saved mine too. And we learn so much about her every week, as we know now, a Highland dancer, which cannot be compared with probably any doctor that you're aware of. Ask them all. Or have you ever been a Highland dancer? And when they tell you that they haven't, you'll know Dr. Dean is unique in so many ways. So we're so happy to have her with us. Welcome tonight, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Yay. Oh, they're coming. Where are they? Oh.
They were just stuck in the bathroom for a minute. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so another superfluous introduction for me. I await the day that Ginny talks about me and the nickname that many people have for me, Ginny. You know, they call me the machete.
I know.
Yeah. When are we going to hear about the machete?
I can't talk about the sharpest machete because
in the shed. In the shed.
it goes again. Unless your machete is directed toward disease and stupid procedures and unnecessary medical treatments, then yes, we'll talk about the sharpest machete. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I cut through the stuff that you don't want. I cut right through it. And one of the things we are cutting through, like, just to go through some of the housekeeping notes, people are asking us, what are you doing about supply chain? Do you have backup? What about the ingredients? What about the cost of everything going up? Well, this is why I built a 30,000 square foot warehouse. We put it up just before COVID, and why we have 2.5 times inventory. So we've got enough to cover people. I guess we should tell people, be sure you stock up, because we don't know about shipping as much as we know about our supply. We continue to make products, but the date from order to receiving them in our warehouse is now doubled and tripled. And that's why things are in short supply, because people didn't think ahead. So we've got you covered. We are going to have our what is it, Black Friday and all those sales where we continue to make bundles so that you can have discounts on those. So, don't be afraid to order and stock up, because we do have to do that. We all have to be preppers. Ginny, do you have anything to add to that?
I think, that it was perfectly said. In spite of all the circumstances, we're still flowing, and we do get a little bit of pinch here and there, but for the most part, we're here. We're always going to be here for you guys. Don't panic about that.
Right. And as much as we are able, as I said, with so much inventory, we don't have to raise our prices on you. So that's not going to happen either. So we know we are an essential service. What we offer is essential. So we're going to be here. Don't worry about that. And let me leap into our topics today. I came across this article, Medscape again. I get my best material from Medscape, and they've got article titled "Fluoroquinolones Linked to Sudden Death Risk on Hemodialysis." So this is specifically for people on kidney dialysis, and some of our customers are on kidney dialysis, and they've been in touch with us. Not a lot of people, but this is evidence of what these fluoride antibiotics do. So fluoroquinolone is a fluoride antibiotic. They started putting fluoride into antibiotics to make them more powerful, to make them stronger, but they didn't realize that the fluoride could dissociate and start binding up magnesium. They still don't know that. This is what I know is going on. And for years, we've been talking about Cipro and how its side effect of tendon rupture, I think, can be directly related to the fact that fluoride binds with magnesium, makes a fluoride compound that deposits in tendons and cartilage, causes brittleness, and this possible tendon rupture. And when I was looking up Cipro just last night, they've got it written up now that Cipro can cause serious side effects, including tendon problems, nerve damage, serious mood or behavior changes, and low blood sugar. They're all related to magnesium deficiency, for Pete's sakes. And in this report, they're looking at oral fluoroquinolone therapy to treat lung infections, and they say it's associated with increased risk of sudden cardiac death. And this is in patients on hemodialysis, particularly those taking certain heart medications. So what have we got here? Magnesium deficiency caused by the fluoroquinolones, They're already on heart medications that are causing more magnesium deficiency, and there's an increased risk of sudden cardiac death. Now, look at the numbers here. This is a big study. They followed 265,000 dialysis patients. All these patients have lost their kidney function and they're on dialysis. That's so, I mean, it's just horrible the way people's kidneys are giving up because of, lifestyle, medications, magnesium deficiency for sure. So these hemodialysis patients, you know what they're told? Don't go on magnesium because they say the kidneys can't clear magnesium. But actually, I should sidebar and say, get in touch with our customer service support at rnareset.com, and you can be sent the text from my Magnesium Miracle book about kidneys and how our REMAG, being a stabilized ion of magnesium, will not build up in the blood, will go into the cells, will do what it needs to do for the structure and function of the body, including the kidneys, where magnesium is required. So 40% of those 265,000 dialysis patients took a fluoroquinolone, and the rate of sudden cardiac death within 5 days. And what happened in the subsequent months? Did they just study them for 5 days? So within 5 days, 105.7 per 100,000 people died versus 40 in the amoxicillin group. So they said the fluoroquinolones were bad. Now, I don't know how many people did not have to die who were on the amoxicillin. They didn't say that, but they did say the rate of sudden cardiac death in the hemodialysis population exceeds that of the general population by more than 20-fold. Okay, so that is the lack of magnesium and being told they can't take magnesium. And actually, I should say in the book, the text you can read in the Magnesium Miracle, I talk about a customer of ours who's a dialysis patient who said that she did experiments on our REMAG and found it helped her. And she made her doctors do a before dialysis and after dialysis magnesium test and found that, she had an immediate drop of her magnesium. And that, I don't know if they began giving it to everybody, but they told her she could continue to take hers. And she said, all around her in the dialysis room, people are twitching and their heart goes out of rhythm. They have all kinds of magnesium deficiency symptoms. They stretch and get a big leg cramp. So it's obvious to me that they're all magnesium deficient. And what did they say at the end of this report? They say that, more studies are needed, but caution should be taken in using respiratory fluoroquinolones when there are other options. Okay, so what are the other options they give? Well, just different antibiotics. What options do we recommend and know that work? We're looking at pico silver, pico zinc, boosting your immune system with our ascorbic acid powder, vitamin C, our whole C reset, all the things we talk about in our wellness book. What is it? Total body wellness. We're not allowed to say immunity. We're not allowed to say defense because we cannot imply that nutrients help the body in any way. So get reading things, people. Go to drcarolyndeanlive.com under books. There are 22 free ebooks that you can read to learn about how to take care of your health because no one else is going to do it for you. The blog to Ginny, I'll stop here for Ginny to see if she has anything to add to this latest horror show.
Just to reinforce the point that we've been dealing with cyprotoxicity among our own customers since 2011, 12, when we first introduced the Remag. We're on a lot of the forums with Remag and Remite and the other formulas. We have incredible testimonials about people's recovery from that. And I just think it's really important that if you know somebody who's had that experience, please share about the formulas with them, because it's an incredibly hideous and painful experience to have.
Yeah, absolutely. So our blog today, Rachel is very excited about this blog because Ginny, were you there when she said that she stopped her synthetic female hormones 5 days ago?
Carolyn, you blurted out.
Sorry.
Carolyn?
Wow. Yes, we're going to our blog now, Women's Bodies, Women's Hormones. And Rachel already, our producer, she already mentioned that she stopped her hormones 5 days ago. I think she weaned off them a little bit, but she was sitting in front of her video, blushing. Well, maybe it was flushing. So she wants to know what more to do. Now, weaning off might wean off, not just go to half and then stops. Some people will go to half and then a quarter and then just.
Carolyn?
Yes. You're not hearing me?
No, you're blurting in and out. You're coming in and out. Cutting in and out.
It might be.
Sounds fine to me.
Oh, it does? Okay,
Yes.
very good. All right, go ahead, Carolyn.
Thanks, Rachel. There's Rachel. There she is. Well, let me just then start with the blog. Ginny takes words from my various writings and puts them in a Monday blog for everybody. So today it's puberty is arriving years before it should. The birth control pill is being given to 12-year-olds, and many women are infertile by the age of 30. What are the connections among these facts? And what does a decade or more of using the pill, followed by a few years of taking fertility drugs, do to the delicate balance of female hormones? So let me just stop here and say, what's happening is there are xenoestrogens, ZENO estrogens, in plastics and various chemicals and medications and chemicals and medications that are given to animals or eaten by humans, and then creating these xenoestrogens, so that puberty is arriving years before it should. Also, with children being overweight the way they are, when a girl hits 100 pounds, no matter what the age, you can start triggering the monthly cycle, because it's related to the amount of fat in the body as much as anything else. And you think about that in terms of athletes, women athletes, you know how tiny some of these gymnasts are. I doubt if most of them are having their periods, because when they lose all that body fat, when their weight is low, they're not going to cycle. And also this taking of the birth control pill. A lot of young girls are put on the birth control pill early because they're having painful periods. Maybe they haven't even started having their periods. So they're put on the pill before kind of a natural cycling has ever occurred. And these are the girls that then, as women in their mid to late 20s and 30s, cannot get pregnant because the pill has stopped the natural sequence. And nobody's talking about this. It's, most women are just happy that they can take the pill. They are happy they don't have their natural cycles, but they're not happy when they have infertility problems. And look at all the infertility treatments that are available. I remember, walking down the street in New York, Manhattan, and on every block there was a fertility clinic, for Pete's sakes. And that just speaks for what what our society is going through, this infertility, taking hormones for fertility, having twins and triplets that are stimulated by these excessive hormones given to women to try to induce their fertility. And what is that doing to the children's health? They're bathed in these extra and excessive hormones. So continuing to the blog, and this blog, it's at drcarolyndeanlive.com on the homepage, or it's in your inbox in your email that Ginny sends out every Monday. So millions of female baby boomers are trying to understand where and if hormone replacement therapy fits into their lives. So yes, once you hit menopause, which occurs between age 45 to 55. I hit mine at 45 because I was under so much stress, working in New York, doing the AIDS and chronic fatigue studies. Living in New York alone is stressful. So back to the blog today, more and more women are searching for safer ways to balance their hormones. Hormones are measured in tiny amounts, nanograms and picograms. Depending on the stage in your menstrual cycle, normal levels of estradiol for a woman can fluctuate between 50 picograms per mil to 300 picograms per mil. How small are these amounts? Consider the following. 1 milligram is 1,000th of a gram. 1 microgram is 1 millionth. 1 nanogram is 1 billionth. And 1 picogram is 1 trillionth of a gram. So once you know that picogram is 1 trillionth of a gram, it's got 12 zeros, for Pete's sakes. You can get an idea of the power of hormones and better understand why our hormones can so easily be thrown out of balance using milligram doses of synthetic hormones. Hormone replacement therapy has been used since the 1950s. It was in 1966 that Dr. Robert A. Wilson was commissioned by the makers of Premarin, the first estrogen hormone made from pregnant horses' urine. He was commissioned to sell a nation of women on the age-defying benefits of an estrogen substitute. In the 70 years since then, we have finally begun to learn more about the side effects of hormone replacement therapy. It was just covered up. This is a sidebar, I'm saying it. It's covered up just like they cover up the side effects of most medications until people start just demanding answers. So over that same time period, the chemical xenoestrogens in our environment that mimic hormones have been jamming up hormonal receptor sites. Hormones are chemical messengers that travel through the bloodstream to tissues and organs to help them do their work. They tell your body what to do, when to do it, and for how long. They work slowly over time and affect many processes, including bone growth, metabolism, mood, sexual function, and reproduction. When your hormones are turned on and properly balanced, you have a stable cellular environment in which to function, but an imbalance can send your entire system into disruption. When it comes to thyroid, adrenal, sex hormone access, there's an ongoing debate among even natural medicine practitioners about which comes first and what do I treat first. And I recommend that you just do everything together, because your therapy is going to focus on mineral deficiencies and yeast overgrowth at the cellular level of all these organs. If you've struggled with thyroid issues, adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalance, sex hormone imbalance, or insulin resistance from the pancreas, insulin in the pancreas, there's a clear path of recovery before you. It's likely with proper remineralization, your system can regain its balance and poise. So that's where we're at. But what I did next was I pulled a kind of a list that I've put in many books. It's called the downward spiral. And because you wonder why we get to the place where our hormones are so out of balance, where we have so many symptoms. And as I've said many times, yeast overgrowth and mineral deficiencies, especially magnesium, are the basis for so many problems. So what's the downward spiral that girls have to watch out for? Diaper rash caused by candida, yeast overgrowth. And it's often treated with cortisones. Even babies are given cortisones, which will cause more yeast to grow. The childhood immunizations, they have mercury, they have all kinds of, they have aluminum in them. What are they doing to the immune system? Kids get ear infections, are given a lot of antibiotics, and then they get colic due to the antibiotics. When they get colic, they're often put on a soy formula, which is soy is very hard to digest, and it can have xenoestrogen properties. Dairy allergies then can lead to a lot more mucus and more ear infections, getting tubes in your ears, and there's an anesthetic given with that it can be a fluoroquinolone anesthetic. Tonsillectomy will follow, when kids get a lot of colds and infections. I had my tonsils out. I probably had a lot of antibiotics. I had immunizations. I had yeast overgrowth and gas and bloating from dairy or soy, eczemas, then from yeast toxins coming out on the skin, misdiagnosed as eczema. If you look up eczema, they say it's often does not have a known cause. Treated with cortisone creams, which shoves the problem into the body but causes more yeast overgrowth. Then with the irritation in the gut from yeast and allergies, you get more food allergies. Kids will get asthma and be given corticosteroid inhalers. I know Ginny's just getting so mad about all this. When it's presented so blatantly, it's just horrifying. So these kids, they're given corticosteroids that can to suppress the symptoms, but what is the treatment? Going off dairy and soy, going on magnesium. Magnesium is very appropriate for asthma because the spasms in the bronchial tubes is related to magnesium deficiency. And then we go on to multiple colds and flus and more antibiotics and the annual flu vaccines, which still contain mercury preservatives and only work 2% of the time. With the yeast, we get cravings for sweets. We get symptoms of ADHD. Dental cavities used to be filled with mercury, now not so much. Then in their teens, kids are getting acne and can be given more antibiotics. They can get mononucleosis, which really drains the immune system. Girls get bladder infections and are given more antibiotics. Then we throw in the birth control pills. I was on the pill for I think 10 years, and that really cranked up my yeast. If young women get pregnant, the pregnancy hormones will cause yeast. The chronic sleep deprivation in parents lowers the immune system. on and on and on. The chronic sinus infections, more antibiotics, hypothyroidism kicks in. Every pregnancy that a woman has will weaken the thyroid, reduce your thyroid hormones. Chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Women are given more and more drugs for those symptoms. I mean, when I was in practice in Toronto, I noticed some of the first cases of chronic fatigue, and they were in women who were trying to work full time and have a family, and were taking flu shots and had been put on a lot of medications. It was obvious to me what was causing it. Then a lot of these young women, they developed what we called environmental allergies. They couldn't stand the smell of newspaper print or the detergents in the stores. People had to go into seclusion. I know our own Jackie and the pro side of our company, she lived out in a trailer until she found minerals and Remag and get her life back together, and now she's working with us, helping other people who are going through this. And then the painful periods, irregular periods, infertility, PMS that women suffer. And as I mentioned earlier, being put on fertility drugs, which cause more symptoms and side effects. And the depression, anxiety, panic attacks, palpitations, all treated with antidepressants and psychotherapy instead of magnesium and a yeast management protocol. Early menopause is medicated with synthetic hormones. So that brings us to kind of where we are with our customers and their questions about, where do we stand? Our population is an older population, but your grandchildren and children are going through all these same symptoms, and they don't have to. And I'll bring Ginny in before I get to the blog questions to see if she has anything to add here.
Yes, I do just want to say this comment that's zinging in hot off the presses from my brother, who's telling me that my sister-in-law used to get migraines from birth control pills, and she hasn't had one of those since she stopped using them over 30 years ago. So that just proves your point perfectly.
Yeah. And what did they do for women who had migraines on the birth control pill is put them on such horrendously strong painkillers. It was incredible. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a wonder any of us are alive.
Oh
my God.
Your microphone just fell on the floor. Are you okay?
Oh no, I'm fine. I was just laughing. I said it's a wonder any of us are alive.
Yeah, sometimes your microphone gets battered around. It's like you're beating your chest with the craziness of what we're all going through. And when I don't know if anyone on chat is responding to that list, the downward spiral, but that's what I would see in my practice with my female patients. And to a certain extent, I mean, what did I have? I already said I had the tonsillectomy. I had the allergies and the sinus problems. I was addicted to nasal sprays, the antihistamine nasal sprays, for Pete's sakes. And that was my yeast overgrowth and dairy allergy, actually, which now it's under control with Flora Revive, et cetera. I had gas and bloating. I had kind of mild IBS that really got triggered in med school because of the stress. Eczema, no. Allergies, food allergies, yes. I never got flu shots. By then I knew better. Sweet cravings, absolutely. Mercury fillings, yes, but I did get them all out years ago. Birth control pills, yeah, that was another downfall. I didn't really get sinus infections to need antibiotics, but even now I snort Pico Silver, every couple of days, especially when I go outside. So it's hypothyroidism. Yeah, my whole family, all the women in the family were on thyroid replacement. I got off it when I started taking my Remite, etc., etc. Early menopause, yeah, for sure. So, blog questions. Well, we'll start with Rachel, our producer. She was telling us she has no more bruising. She'd knock herself and bruise. She was showing me scratches from her new puppy, and she's so excited because there's no bruising involved. And I thought, oh my God, look at all those scratches. But she puts Pico Silver on them and they heal right up. And she says people are saying her skin is soft. Yeah, I guess they come up and hug Rachel because she's so sweet. But she decided she didn't want to take synthetic hormones anymore and stopped 5 days ago. And she is having hot flashes. Now, if you're going off hormones, I would say to really take, a month or more to slowly wean off them. And instead of the synthetics, and before you even wean off them, I would try to seek out an alternative doctor who will help you with bioidentical hormones. And Rachel remembered I have said that I take a vaginal hormone cream, which has progesterone and estriol in it and a bit of estradiol in it. Estradiol is the one that's too active. You want a gentler estrogen. So estriol is the one to ask for. But if you get a pharmacist or a doctor who knows about the bioidentical hormone cream, I just recommend it for hot flashes and to keep the vaginal walls lubricated. I don't recommend any sort of hormones for the bones. Our first question is from Gail, and she says, is it too late to take hormone supplement at 80? I've never taken them and I suffer from osteoporosis. So Gail's wondering, will the hormones at this stage help the osteoporosis? And I don't know that they will. Estrogen itself, when they did studies on men and gave men estrogen, it did not help their bones. They did not do well at all. So I don't know if that's a sufficient study to know whether or not estrogen helps bones. But what you need for osteoporosis is daily exercise to put a strain on the bones to keep them reacting to the weight of your muscles and to movement. I've said many, many times that when men went into space, I suppose the women too, when they finally put a woman up there, they came back with osteopenia and osteoporosis because the lack of gravity up in the atmosphere was not good to their bones. So exercise and make sure you're getting 600 milligrams of calcium a day. Look at calcium food lists. And if you're not getting enough in your diet, take our Recalcia. 1 teaspoon is 300 milligrams. So if you're not getting any calcium foods, you're going to take 2 teaspoons of Recalcia a day. I take 1 teaspoon a day because I do eat cheese and heavy whipping cream. I no longer have a dairy allergy because I'm so healthy. And Remite for all the other minerals. Put sea salt in your water. for the 72 minerals. So the Remite is going to support the thyroid, and it does help support the adrenals. All the supplements are going to help the tissues and the bones and the muscles, because our bones with age are going to thin out a bit. And that's why you want to keep your muscles strong, so that your muscles can work together with your bones. Christine asks, she said, I bought your Remite and Remag. I haven't really noticed any changes with either of them. Okay, so what do we know is the reason for that? Everybody can answer on the chat. Christine is not taking enough. Because if you take enough Remag and Remite to help your body with what it needs, you will notice it. If you're just taking a half a teaspoon twice a day of Remag, you might not notice. So she says, I find myself not taking them, especially Remite, because you have to sip it throughout the day, which I don't do, et cetera, et cetera. So with Remite, which she says is the worst tasting, of course, it's got some iodine in it. So what you can take Remite, the teaspoon and a half in one shot, and then, swallow some vitamin C RNA reset powder water after it, or put it in RNA reset powder water, the berry powder, and not taste it. But the Remag should be taken throughout the day. And I don't know if that's, confuses people. If you can take all your minerals throughout the day, that would be better. But Remite, I'm pretty sure that rather than not taking it at all, if you take it once, at least you get it in you. And she said, do your products help someone who's having difficulty conceiving? Which ones? And do you have a protocol? Well, all the nutrients we have do do what the body needs done. We don't treat our products as if they're drugs for which, they treat a certain condition. But when someone's having trouble conceiving, it can be because they're magnesium deficient, and the fallopian tubes go into spasms, like all the different muscles of the body can go into spasms. And a spasming fallopian tube won't allow the egg to come down to meet the sperm. And we've had many people saying when they get their Remag saturated that they conceive, and they hadn't even been thinking about it. The Remite is also going to be very important. As I said, if a woman has had previous pregnancies, their thyroid is going to be low, and the body will prevent you from getting pregnant if it's not in optimal shape. Basically, if you don't have enough vitamin D, if you don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids, if your vitamin C is low. So it's not a prescriptive, protocol that we give people, but start with Remag, Remite. Realign is important for taking out the trash. And as you're feeling better, you'll want to take all the formulas. The next one, Catherine is saying, I'm 52 years old. For about 3 years now, I no longer have a period, so I believe I'm experiencing some sort of menopause symptoms. Do not get hot flashes, but some anxiety from time to time, which I do not like. I never know when I would wake up feeling anxious from one day to the next. I do have young children. My youngest is 10. I don't like them to see me this way. Now, when I started going through my menopause, I would get this sense of impending doom. I suppose you could say that's like anxiety. But then I would get a hot flash, and then I'd say, oh, it's my hormones. So, I'd have a moment of anxiety because I felt this impending doom. It was bizarre. But I finally went on the estrogen progesterone vaginal cream, and it stopped those hot flashes and those feelings. But the anxious symptoms, I would wonder if they would be related to magnesium deficiency and maybe supporting the thyroid. Now, actually, Catherine goes on to say, it has been a year now, and I'm taking Remag and Remite with the B complex and your powders, vitamin C, and it's not working. So again, she says, am I missing something? It's probably just the need for more of those products, those formulas. She asks if she should take extra iodine. No, don't jump to other things until you make sure you're on 2-3 teaspoons of Remag, 1.5 Remite, 2 Realign, and a scoop of vitamin C powder. She says I also take vitamin D 5,000, so that's usually a good amount, but you could get a vitamin D test and make sure that you're up at 60. She takes biotin for her hair that's falling out more than usual. Well, that's thyroid. And that's where you need your 1.5 teaspoons of Remite. And if you're taking 1.5 teaspoons and your hair is still falling out, then get in touch with customer service and we'll help you sort it out. She says, I have tried all sorts of vitamins, etc., and your stuff as well, and it's not working. Well, it's a matter of taking the right amount. So probably get in touch with customer service to sort that out, Catherine. We know they work, so they should work for you. Who's this? Marissa, 51 years old, perimenopause. She says, as soon as I hit 50, I started having symptoms of gastritis. It's been over a year, still have it. I drink pure aloe vera juice, take a digestive enzyme and a probiotic every day. It helps. How can I naturally balance my hormones so it no longer affects my stomach? Now, that type of gastritis, I mean, it could be a lack of hydrochloric acid. That can happen with the magnesium deficiency. Yes, what's my women's book, Total Body Reset for Women? You can look at that and find out more about various symptoms, but I would say to look at the yeast overgrowth possibility. Actually, you can go to Reset the Yeast Connection and I would go on the yeast management protocol, which is the Pico Silver and Flora Revive, to get your gastritis sorted out, and then the Remag and Remite and Realign for the perimenopause. And Linda says, I had to have a total hysterectomy last month, ! What should I do to get my hormones in balance? I've been reading about the bad hormones and I want to be healthy. Thank you. Now, I don't know her age or anything else, but a total hysterectomy usually means the uterus and the ovaries are all gone. So that would put you into instant menopause. And, if Linda's having hot flashes and, symptoms like that, then I would go to the bioidentical vaginal estrogen and progesterone. Some people put in testosterone as well and use an amount vaginally that does not give you breast tenderness. You gauge how much you're taking by if the sides of your breasts get tender. And of course, in our formulas, the Remag, Remite, Realign, vitamin D, and look at the yeast overgrowth to make sure that your yeast is under control. So there we go, Ginny, almost a whole hour of talk. What do you see on the chat?
It's very good information though, Carolyn, and so important. So thank you. I will ask you, one of the questions was, I missed the comments on estradiol. Is this a good or bad product?
Estradiol is a very strong estrogen. In the United States, the female hormones are made mostly with estradiol because we go for maximum strength. In Europe, they make their estrogen products with estriol, which is milder. So when the alternative doctors and pharmacists started making bioidentical estrogen creams, they use something called triestrogen, TRIESTROGEN, which has some estradiol, some estriol, and some estrone. It's 1, 2, and 3. Estrone is 1, estradiol is 2, estriol is 3, and that's probably it just relates to their chemical formula. And the triestrogen is mostly made up of estriol.
Very
so
good.
That's
Excellent.
that.
That's perfect. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. So now Alexis says, I'm 50 and recently menopausal. My primary symptoms are bloating, weight gain, and gas, as well as occasional heartburn and night sweats. Would this indicate the need for dietary changes?
That sounds like yeast overgrowth. So that's where you would start with developing yeast protocol. Well, we have it all written out actually. Reset the yeast connection. So it's almost like the extra stress of going through menopause will accentuate a person who already has some yeast, make the yeast worse, or in some cases accentuate the magnesium deficiency and make, like, say, insomnia, muscle spasms, leg cramps, restless legs worse. But it's probably both, something of both. The night sweats, that can be magnesium, or I've seen night sweats in people that just have yeast overgrowth. So it sounds like yeast overgrowth.
Okay, very good. Susie Mueller says, what symptoms are helped from the estrogen creams?
Well, it's an estrogen, progesterone, and sometimes testosterone cream. And I recommend it for people who just can't handle their hot flashes. And that's what I use it for. And for vaginal atrophy, to make sure your vaginal tissues are still, nice and functional. So the rest of it, all the other symptoms, you can use the yeast management and your formulas, Remag, Remite, Relina. In the Magnesium Miracle book, I think it is, maybe in the Remag, the free Remag book, I have the story of someone who claimed that 10 of her menopause symptoms went away with just getting on Remag.
Oh, wow. Yep, I believe it, because that's so important. It's primary to every single cell in the body. They absolutely have to have magnesium in order to make the mitochondria work. And without mitochondria, you won't have energy, you won't have, anything, apoptosis or any of it. I mean, it's just really incredible what magnesium does for the body. Also, Remite, as we know, you've got to have those other minerals.
Yeah.
Right, Carolyn?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And not in high doses. I mean, you'll see doctors who treat the minerals like they're drugs. And that's where they say, oh, yeah, take 12 milligrams of iodine or 50 milligrams of iodine. And it's like, no, don't do that. Or with calcium, telling women to take 1,500 milligrams when they really need 600 milligrams of a calcium that's going to be absorbed and utilized properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right, very good. Well, that was a comprehensive first hour. Let me just remind everybody, we do take calls in hour 2. And again, the number 646-558-8657. And of course, the ID number 8836953587. If you're on the line now and you have a question or comment, please raise your hand by hitting *9, *9. And at the beginning of next hour, we'll come back and put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. Carolyn, did we tell everybody about the men's health
No.
webinar next week?
No,
No.
tell them. Tell
We
them.
must tell them. I just want to remind everybody, next Monday's show is going to be so much fun because we are going to have not all, because it would be too many, but we had a lot of really great men contribute to the men's health book that is coming out and the webinar that's going to be done that Carolyn's been working on. And it's just fantastic. And so we're going to have a couple of the guys who talked about their experiences. One was with intermittent fasting, which I know is a topic that a lot of the guys have asked us to cover before. Another one is going to be talking a lot about the RNA drops and his experience with the drops, which I know people have a lot of questions with that. We've got some people who've got mental health and recovery kind of contributions, what their experience was with that. So we're going to have several people on. And of course, you'll been able to see all the interviews through social media, through our Instagram and our YouTube channel. The book's coming out. Their stories will be in the book. But we would love for you to be on with your significant others and men that you care about. Share it with them because they can come on and talk with other men along with Dr. Dean about their particular health challenges and issues and concerns and how they may be able to work through their solutions. So it's going to be really a powerful and compelling show. That's next Monday night. So don't forget to share.
Yes, and we have. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, kids. And we have a number of women's testimonials I haven't even gotten to. So if people don't feel they need to call in and ask questions, I'll be reading through these. They're pretty awesome.
Okay, very good. So we've got testimonials and phone calls coming up next hour. And the testimonials are not just to, support the product. It's really to encourage you. It's for encouragement. It's for inspiration. You have to know that at a cellular level, we're all the same. We're different in our personalities and we're different genetically in the 0.0006% is the deviation in our DNA. Otherwise, we're the same, people. And that means that if it can happen for you, it can happen for me. And that is good news because biologically, we want to all function and the body seeks its own optimization. It is not looking for dilapidation. It wants optimization, and Dr. Dean's got it. So we share the testimonials for your encouragement. So really do stick around next hour. Great phone calls, great stories, and we'll be back.
Yay.
Yay.
Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. I'm Ginny Sanders. I'm your co-host this hour, as well as all hours to come. I will always be here for everybody. So exciting. Along with Dr. Dean. We will never give up, will we, Carolyn?
No, we won't. People say, oh, you're in Maui. Are you retired? No, I will never retire.
I will never retire. I will never give up. So we are here to talk to every single one. Well, Dr. Dean will talk to everybody. I'll just play with the phone. But we've got several callers waiting, and so that's awesome. And again, just a reminder, if you are on the phone and you want to talk to Dr. Dean yourself, you've got to hit *9 on your keypad to raise your hand and let me know you want to talk to her. And one by one, I will announce your area code, beginning with our first caller tonight, area code 719. So I'll say area code 719, please unmute your phone, either by hitting the blue button that's onto your computer screen or hitting *6. And there she is. Hello, 719. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Hi, this is Pamela.
Hi, Pamela.
I have a couple questions for you today.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one is about, they say that breathlessness is a symptom of the AFib. And I was wondering if you could explain that to me. That seems to be my biggest problem right now. I think my AFib is doing better, but I have this breathlessness every few days, and sometimes it's really bad, and sometimes it's pretty slight. But I don't understand what it is.
So is it you catching your breath, or you're trying to do something and you realize you're short of breath?
It feels like being short of breath, but I don't even have to be doing anything.
Yeah.
Just be sitting here and it happens.
Well, it's I mean, the way the heart works, if the AFib is interfering with the blood going in and out of the heart, and the way the blood goes, through the lungs and through the body, it I mean, it can catch your breath. That's the symptom that I used to have, where I'd almost cough and it would catch my breath. But the fatigue is more like there's not enough blood getting kind of to your lungs to oxygenate them. So we also call it air hunger. You're not getting enough air or oxygen in your lungs. But what could you do about that? Do you do breathing exercises, Pamela?
Yes, and that does seem to help, but it doesn't stop it from coming back,
I know. We have to get rid of this AFib. That's pretty much the bottom line.
I do think that the suggestion you made to me last week, I guess it was, or 2 weeks ago, of more potassium, I think that is helping.
Okay. Okay, good.
But I still have some of it. It's not near as strong a beating, but I still have it fairly often. And to me, what's really weird about the whole thing is it usually starts during my sleep during the night. I don't understand that.
Well, the thing of it is, it's there's so many symptoms that can be related. If you're saying the extra potassium is helping, how much are you on now, Pamela?
Of what? The magnesium?
The potassium. You said you
one teaspoon. You
right.
said to start slow, so I've just done one.
Yeah, I would go to 2 teaspoons if it's helping. Then you probably need more, but I know I haven't given you the answer to what exactly is causing the breathing problems, but I think you have to try to ignore it and not put a focus on it.
Okay, well, it was interesting that you suggested something about the fatigue, and it really, when that, and of course the palpitations also really get going. Boy, I get so tired, and I get so tired I can't even. I'm falling asleep during the middle of the day just sitting up.
Right. Yeah, it's I mean, it's a lot of work. When you have atrial fibrillation, the heart is usually there's tachycardia or extra beats. It's a lot of work. Even, if people think of when they're on a treadmill and they get off the treadmill, your heart is beating really fast and you're tired from that. So it's the work of the heart. It can also be, it can be some backup of fluid in the lungs too. So you have to be aware of, keeping your regular doctor appointments and everything to make sure that that's not happening.
Okay.
Do you have fluid in your ankles building up?
I did at one point, but I don't think there is now.
Okay. So if it's not in your ankles, it's not likely in your lungs. But, we never want people to avoid their doctor, because a doctor can give you good information. You don't necessarily have to take the drugs they say, but you really have to, that's the only place you're going to get examined and tested. Okay.
Right. What I'm doing with my doctor, she's a DO, so she's got me on a regular once a month appointment with her to do the what do they call it, manipulation.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So I'm seeing her regularly. We don't talk a lot about the AFib and that kind of stuff, but if I have a question, I do ask her at that time.
Right. So just be aware that shortness of breath can be a bit of fluid on the lungs, but it usually goes along with fluid in the ankles. And if that happens, you tell your doctor. And, that can mean you just have to do more exercise to, push the blood. But if you get your potassium up, then it's likely that that's going to help take care of more of this AFib. Okay.
Okay. Glad to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Super.
Okay. What else?
My other question is kind of off the kind of things that you talk about, so you may not even want to answer this. I am doing my will, and there is a paragraph in there, the one that they wrote up for me, that I'm concerned about, because it says that I will be willing to let the person that's directing them at the point of death, this is, give me any medications or anything that they're recommending. And I don't take medications, so I'm not real thrilled about that. I don't know if I can tell them to forget that paragraph, or what to do with that.
Yeah, you can remove it if you don't want medication if you're not in a state where you can say yes or no, and you don't want medications, then that can be written into your will.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was trying to figure out how to do it. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's no problem. Some people just anyway, let's not get into it. You can direct them to remove that paragraph.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, well, that's it for me then today. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your information. And
you're welcome.
I wish I could absorb more of it faster.
Well, you can re-listen to the shows. Ginny will. Do you know how to do that? I don't really know what to tell you. Ginny, can you come on and tell the audience how to re-listen to the shows?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can go to drcarolyndeanlive.com, drcarolyndeanlive.com, and then at the very top, across the top, it says podcasts. And there's a couple things you could do. You could either subscribe to the podcast, which means you'll get them uploaded to your technology anytime you want. But if you don't do podcast subscriptions, then you can just go there and just hit podcast, and it will start to play them for you. And you can go through and select ones that you like, that you'd like to get more information on, and you can just click through them, and you can see them all the way back to the back of the beginning, 77 pages. I think our website goes back to one of our very first shows, which was September 26, 2012.
Wow. Okay. That should be plenty of information.
Yeah, when you start doubting yourself in any little way, just listen to our show, because we do try to keep it upbeat, and we do give information that does make people feel better, because we know we can help. Here's one. Let me just read this testimonial to you, Pamela. It's a bit long, but it's very interesting. this customer, Lisa, says, I have struggled with leg edema and swelling for nearly 2 years. I am thin, 47 years old. I exercise regularly, have eaten organic for 15 years, diagnosed with adrenal fatigue over a year ago. I've had a lot of emotional stress in the last 3 years. The leg edema is caused from the adrenal fatigue, especially when I experience any emotion, good or bad. The leg swelling appears. This happens daily. No functional naturopathic or Western doctor has been able to explain this. I've been taking Remag for 2 years, Remite for 4 months, and have seen positive results. She puts that in capitals. I don't have leg cramps or heart palpitations anymore. The hot flashes that began when the emotional stress started have now ended, thanks to Remite. I also have regular monthly periods now, thanks to Remite. For 2.5 years, they had been irregular and basically non-existent. I started Realign a month ago, and she has in all capitals, and the leg swelling has reduced 80 to 90%.
Wow.
The swelling decreased just after taking Realign for 2 days. So there you go. I mean, that, I don't know if you're taking Realign, but maybe,
Yeah.
Good. Then
Yeah.
two a day. So for people who are listening, this is why Realign is taking out the trash. It's helping to detoxify the body. There might have been something where the lymphatic was blocked or something with that Lisa was experiencing. So there you go.
Did you say, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
did you say take 2 Realign a day? I've been
Correct.
doing 1.
Yeah, you could increase it, and that's going to help as well to help
Okay.
detox. Mm-hmm.
Going back to the Remite, I'm wondering if I need to, I did increase it a little bit since I've talked to you. How much do you think I should be on? I'm now doing 1 teaspoon.
Yeah, 1.5 is the standard dosage for everybody. 1.5.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay, good.
Okay, very good.
So we got you coming and going.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Pamela, we'll talk to you, in the next couple of weeks, and you're going to be so much better.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye.
I have noticed great results, Carolyn, since I started taking 4 Realign a day.
Oh.
Yeah, I've always loved Realign, but I haven't. I just decided I was going to start taking more, and I did, and it's been great. So I take 2 in the morning and 2 at lunchtime. I try to get them in early in the day, but it's been fantastic just for a lot of different things. So one can never take too much Realign, I guess, must be the message.
Interesting. Yeah, because it is the 8 B vitamins in low potency. We don't overdo it because the body does not need to be jammed with 50 milligrams of a B vitamin. Our B vitamins are like 2 and 4 milligrams, and they're food-based and methylated. And yeah, some people will need a little more. I actually have been taking 3 a day because of just the toxicity of the world, mental, emotional, and physical. So yes, go ahead.
We have a great article somewhere in our archives about Ben Lynch and the sulfation pathways of the liver, and how you kind of brought that out and went through about how Realign works with the sulfation pathways of the liver, and also because of the taurine and methionine are very good precursors. So that will be pretty amazing what it does with acetaldehyde, is that how you say it? Acetaldehyde, which is one of the, alcohol sugars give off acetaldehyde, but also there's a lot of acetaldehyde that just comes from food in general. and the way that it works in the body. So with we know that from alcohol too, with the Realign. So all these sugar alcohols that people are eating in their keto foods and stuff like that, when they're saying, well, the dietary carbs is this, but the sugar alcohols is only 3 and this and that, that is all building up in the body too. So I just think Realign is really pretty spectacular.
Yes, and Lisa, this testimonial, she continues and says, I'm also taking the RNA drops. So that could be part of her recovery. I'm increasing the drops weekly as Dr. Dean recommends and can't wait to reap the benefits. So grateful for making these compounds, etc. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's awesome. I know and that's why, folks, we are able to say when a couple of our questioners today said, well, I'm taking them and I'm, don't feel anything. And it's seriously because you're not taking enough.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I agree completely. All right. Very good. Let's press on to our next caller, area code 434. Area code 434. If you can either respond to the blue button on your screen or hit *6 and take your phone off mute. There you are. Welcome to the call. To whom are we speaking?
Hi, Dr. Dean and Jenny. This is Sherry Bell in Virginia.
Hi, Sherry.
Yeah, hi. I was thinking I hadn't noticed, but when I heard you talking about hot flashes tonight, I thought, oh, I'm not sure I've been noticing those lately. And I've been on formulas, I guess mid-September, I've been on all of them. But my question is, I'm 73, and I had a hysterectomy 26 years ago. I still have my ovaries. Let's see. Oh, so I have been paranoid about hormone replacement, and even the bioidentical. We've got this naturopath in town, and she kind of tries to scare people away from the bioidentical. But I've heard you talking and about what you're taking, Dr. Dean, and being that I have AFib, and I'm on metoprolol and Xarelto. I just wondered if it would be good for me to go on carefully on the bioidentical, if that would help my heart, and if I would in time with the formulas, and if the hormones would help me be able to get off the medicines.
I don't know that. I really don't know. In our customer service with people who have AFib and are on our products, I have not heard people say that they're better or worse from taking hormones or not taking them. So I really can't say to you that going on bioidentical would help the heart. I don't know that at all, Sherry.
Okay. Well, I wanted to also ask about Relight. Not Relight. The multiple minerals.
Remite. Yeah, we did. You were
Remite.
right. It used to be called Relight, but we had to give up that name. Yes, go ahead.
I think I'm taking 3/4 of a teaspoon. I can't remember really for sure right now, but I heard you say something a while back about if you're trying to get off hypothyroid medicine, which I take, to increase the Remite. And
Correct.
How much would you say?
Well, if people ask us directly about getting off their thyroid medication, if you're taking 1.5 teaspoons and it's not budging, we will say to people, like I personally, that's the way I have to say it, I personally would go up to 2 teaspoons, but I wouldn't go up to much more, because what happens is over time the mineral, the iodine will build and do its thing, and it just seems to work itself out with the thyroid just taking a teaspoon and a half, or up to 2 teaspoons. If you're only taking if you're only taking 3/4 teaspoon, you've only got half the dose we recommend.
Okay, I may be taking 1.5 already then. But so what did you say, 2 or 3 to only go up to?
2.
2, okay.
Yeah, and you can get a test, a thyroid test, and check and see if your TSH is normalizing, to know whether or not you can wean off medication. But you do that with your doctor.
Okay. Yeah, I did have a test fairly recently, and my TSH was normal. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if she'll be big about weaning me, but we'll see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, when you say that, we'll see. Well, the thing is, it should be your choice. But what holds doctors back, Sherry, is they never see people getting off these medications, and they don't think it's a big deal that, oh, you're taking this synthetic for the rest of your life. That should be okay. But you see, the thyroid wants to do much more than what the synthetic thyroid is giving you. When you take synthetic thyroid, it suppresses the thyroid from making its own hormones. And there's T1, T2, T3, and T4 thyroid hormones. And when you take a thyroxine, it's just giving you the T4. So what are we missing out by not stimulating our own thyroid hormone production with the Remite? So that's what you're looking for. But the doctor, they would think, well, what's a big deal? And you can't re-educate them. You just, make up a story maybe and say, well, I don't know if this is agreeing with me. And if my TSH is normal, maybe I should reduce it somewhat, and just do your experiment along with your doctor, knowing you're doing it. But you kind of have to coddle them a bit so that they won't get upset.
Yeah, I will say she's pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, she does ask me because she has to, but she knows I'm not going to accept a flu shot or the COVID shot. So I think I might be able to work with her about letting me back up on it.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Because actually my numbers were, before I started on the formulas, my numbers got a little better. I don't know why. And she did agree to let me slide back on my medicine. So I thought that was good.
That sounds good. Okay. Anything else, Sherry?
I think that's all. Yeah, I really appreciate your time and your expertise and being here for everybody. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for calling. It's useful too for people to hear good questions like this. Everybody learns something. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I just wanted to say, if Pamela is still listening, I heard her say about falling asleep, and probably she's already been checked out for sleep apnea, but I have it, and I don't fall asleep, but I know that's one of the things that can happen if people have it badly without having it treated. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Pamela did say that she gets that short of breath when she's lying down. So that's interesting. You could research that, Pamela. Okay, good work. Thanks, Sherry.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Sherry. That was great. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to area code 562. 562, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. Welcome. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Dean. This is Nancy again.
Hi, Nancy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm trying to get off of, I was trying to get off of the thyroid medicine. And then I've flown to California because my son got married, and so I started having blood work done here with Kaiser, and my TSH is going the wrong direction.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not doing as regular exercise. I'm moving around a good bit, but I can't say, like I don't walk this circle on a consistent basis. I am, my drops, your drops, I've gotten irregular with those. And the other thing that I have done, that I'm trying to figure out what I've done to make it go the wrong direction. Is that when I take my thyroid medicine in the mornings, I then wait an hour and I drink the mineral water. And used to, I gave it a bigger gap than that, but I don't know that that's it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not doing something that's making it go the wrong direction.
Well, even now, the wrong direction, you mean it's going higher?
Right. Okay. On the 8th of September, it was 6.9. Now, it had been lower than that back, and I don't have it right here in front of me. And then it went to 8.52, 9.22, and 11.31.
Well, it's tough, when you travel, things can get messed up. But, to me, it sounds like your body does not want to get off the thyroid medication right now.
That's what it sounds like to me too, and shame on it.
I know. It should know our will, what we want done. Command the angels to get off.
In its truth. Now, I've got along in there. I've also got, and I don't understand T4 and T3 particularly. I'm a little bit, but not exactly.
Right.
In September the 22nd, when the TSH was 8.52, the T4 was 0.8, and the T3 was 57. And then, like 2 weeks later, it was 9.22, so it had gone up some, TSH. And the T4 was 1.0, and the T3 was 63.
Right.
Are the T3s and the T4s numbers not as goofy as the TSH?
No, they're not as goofy. No, they're not.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they're kind of maintaining yourself. And see, the TSH is the thyroid stimulating hormone, from the pituitary that's trying to push your thyroid to make more T4 and T3 and T1 and T2 as well, but they don't measure them. So it's, banging away on your thyroid. And, what your thyroid medication was doing is giving you an amount of T4 mostly. I don't know if you're doing a T3 or a T3, T4.
No, I'm just doing levothyroxine.
So that's a T4. So, that, and then when you take a certain level of T4, your TSH stops beating away because you've got enough. So it pulls back. And what you've been doing is, by reducing your thyroid medication and then trying to give yourself the building blocks with the Remite and the Remag to make your own hormones. But it's not doing what we want it to do, basically. So,
it's not doing with the TSH, but are those T4 and T3 numbers good?
Oh, I see. Yes. Let's just look at exactly the normal values of T3 and T4, because they fluctuate in between one another. Normal ranges of T3, they say 3 to 8, and T4, 4 to 11. So it's a whole, wow, that is different. So you're below 3 and way above 11. Huh.
All right, my T4s were 0.8 and 1. And then my T3s were 57 and 63.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
It's great.
yeah, T3.
And when they show me a little graph here on the lab stuff, it shows it between, falling between low normal and high normal or whatever, in the normal range nicely on the, especially on the T3. I don't remember the T4. So if those are normal, is it just some miscommunication with the pituitary gland or something?
Well, if
Now, during all of that, I stayed consistently on 75 micrograms a day, all the way through that. As the TSH keeps going up, I'm still on 75 micrograms. So I don't know.
Well, the thing is, what I read off is obviously not what your lab was testing the scale, right? So, I found the other measures that sync up more. The total T3 75 to 195. That makes more sense if yours was 50 and 60, but it's still kind of low.
Right, but it's increased. Those two numbers that I have increased.
Yeah,
while my TSH was also increasing.
Yeah, and
and my T4 increased. It's free T4. Free T4.
Yeah, thyroid endocrinology is really difficult, especially when you're paying close attention to this, and it's almost impossible to figure it out. But I don't like the fact that your TSH is going up, and it should be going down. Yeah.
Right.
And are you in California now for a while? What's the story there?
Probably till the 13th of next month.
Right. Yeah, you probably shouldn't do much of anything until you get back home and go to your regular doctor and try to sort this out.
Well, actually, California is my regular insurance. And when I go back to Alabama, basically I do internet lab work on my own.
Oh, I see. Oh, gosh. Well, maybe, try to sort it out there, because if you're, taking the 75 regular and then your TSH is jumping up and down, and how much Remite are you taking?
4 teaspoons.
Yeah. No, don't let the rest of the audience hear that you're taking 4 teaspoons.
Okay. Plug your ears, people.
Plug your ears. We're doing an experiment here. Well, I don't know what to say other than, it's unexpected what's happening. I mean, you're not suffering, though. You're not having hyper or hypothyroid symptoms, are you, Nancy?
Not gosh awful. I mean, it sort of has surprised me that the TSH keeps going up. And then when I want to look at, and I think that's free T4 instead of just T4. But anyway, something about T4. With the T4 and the T3 both increasing, that's good, isn't it?
It is good, and that should put your TSH lower because you're making more hormones. Yeah.
Right.
And maybe
so they're disagreeing with each other.
Right. But maybe the testing is, every couple of months you're doing it, but maybe the TSH will take a while to catch up, to get the feedback and lower itself. That's the only thing I can think of.
So I should not get all carried away with adding any. All right. Yesterday I added like 6.5 micrograms, but I did not feel any real results. What did I do? That's not right. I had 12.5 micrograms. I did half of a 25 to the 75. But I should not get carried away with adding, since the T3 and the T4 are doing good things, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
personally, what I do is stay with that extra 12 and a half added to the 75 and see what happens after a month. Test that before you go
Right.
back and just keep
Right.
everything else the same. Yeah.
Now, should I do that every day or just sometimes? Because even when I was reducing, I would reduce like a couple of times a week, not every day.
Oh, right. Yeah.
My thyroid has always been extremely touchy with medication. It's never
Right.
been real normal.
Right.
And that's since I was 30 something.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I would play it a little softer and maybe just do the 12 and a half milligrams every 2 days or even every 3 days and see if at the end of a month or so that your TSH is acknowledging it.
Right. But I should pay more attention to the free T4 and the T3 than the TSH at this point, right? In terms of worrying about it.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I think the TSH, the feedback loop is probably just a little slow. Sometimes for those hormonal thing, it takes 3 months.
Right. Well, the doctor here has been willing to work with me and do the TSH check every 2 weeks, which is wonderful on my insurance, so I don't have to pay for it. But
that's
now I won't.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you're
phenomenal.
Yeah, you're an experimenter, so that's great to have that backup.
So I won't do it as frequently once I get back to Alabama because I'll be paying out of pocket. But I'll still do it. But I can also talk to the doctor, and I've got a phone appointment with him for Wednesday to see what he's thinking about these numbers.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd see what you were thinking.
Yeah, a doctor who's regularly treating thyroid and doing medications, they'll have much more experience. So yeah, you may get some more information that you can share with us.
Now, how much difference does it make with me not regularly exercising, like walking 15, 20 minutes a day?
I don't know.
Make that much difference with the thyroid?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
And the drops, I'm doing it sporadically instead of twice a day regularly. But that shouldn't make that much difference either, should it?
Not really, but you mean the RNA reset drops, Nancy?
Yes.
Well, the RNA reset, they will get into an area in the body that's a priority. And if you're working on the thyroid as your priority, they can have an effect. I would be consistent with those. But I know we do say twice a day, but I know Ginny and I have said that we're just taking ours once a day. We take the double dose once a day just to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what dosage do you do?
I'm on a big teaspoon myself.
Okay.
And that's going to be that could be about 30 drops, 30. Yeah.
So how long do you hold it in under your tongue before you swish it and swallow it?
As much as I can. I'll go out for my walk then. If I have to say something to someone, I'll swallow it. I might keep it in for minutes and minutes and minutes.
Right. Okay. That's what I was sort of doing too. Long time if I could handle it, and short time if I couldn't.
Right.
Okay.
And the saliva builds up. The saliva builds up, so you've got a big mouthful at the end of it.
Right. Okay. Well.
Okay.
And I did cut back my magnesium a little bit. I was doing 4.5 teaspoons, and I cut it back to 4 because of bowel movement and consistency. But that's not going to make that much difference on the thyroid, is it?
No, especially if you had looser bowels, because that means you're losing some of it. So I think a half a teaspoon is probably a very good idea.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got focused on the T3 and the T4 because that's encouraging.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's wonderful to speak with you and have someone who's, you're doing the experiment. It's great because you'll bring that information to your doctor and, they'll learn something just as I'm learning something. So it's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate you talking to me. Bye.
Thanks, Nancy. And have fun in California. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, excellent exchanges, Carolyn. We don't have anybody holding right now. I know you had some things you wanted to read off into the record. So what would you like to do?
Yes, we'll read off women's testimonials. And yeah, that was a good kind of thyroid education for people. I know it can be a bit dense, but you can re-listen because Nancy had some great observations there. Okay, another testimonial. Dennis. What's he talking about? I appreciate the quality of Dr. Dean's products and the sound science-based nutritional information. For me, Remite has helped me overcome my low thyroid problem. I began taking a teaspoon of Remite each morning in a glass of water. After about 3 months while under my doctor's care, I was able to slowly eliminate my thyroid medication. My symptoms disappeared and my blood test results were normal. Apparently, my thyroid has what it needs to make its own hormones again. I also take Remag. Maybe the two have worked together to help make this change for me. Awesome. So that's another thyroid testimonial. Frank says, I've been taking a teaspoon of Remag twice a day since 2013. I've tried many brands and Remag is my favorite. If 1,000 enzymes and all the hormones in the body require magnesium to do the biological functions, then it makes sense to have it every day. Thank you, Dr. Dean, for making it available. And yes, Remag is the only 60,000 parts per million liquid magnesium, stabilized, proven in university studies to be as tiny as we say it is. Lisa says, I've been using Dr. Dean's products for a little over 3 months. They've helped my body recover from shoulder surgery quickly. My allergies have calmed down to the point I no longer do allergy injections. My hormones are more balanced. Woohoo! What'd she say? 3 months. Crazy. Jessica says, my husband and I both struggled with adrenal fatigue. I also have had heart palpitations for 20 years. We've been taking Remag and Remite for over a year now and have seen great improvements in our health. I no longer have heart palpitations and no sign of adrenal fatigue. Wow, that's pretty amazing. And this is after medical hormone testing was done. My husband has also seen great improvement in his as well. We are so thankful to have found these great products. Next one, Alyssa says, I have a completely improved body, mind, and spirit from engaging the Reset products for the last 4 years. I was put on antibiotics as a young teen and have had negative side effects for years that I didn't even know were attributed to that medication. I think back to how I responded to my body and my health, worrying about decline and decay and trying to band-aid the situation, but overwhelmed with unknowns. Now I relax and allow the RNA Reset products to do just that. The products have calmed and supported my entire being by balancing calcium, magnesium, hormone, nervous system, minerals, good protein building blocks for body chemistry, and the RNA, DNA messaging of my cells. Thank you, Dr. Dean. Very sweet. Lori says, oh, this is interesting, Jenny. I am stunned that there are not hundreds of positive reviews about this product. I've taken Remag and Remite for only 3 days and have already had 95% less leg cramps and no more heart vibrations. They were not palpitations, but vibrations. I have had them for years, more than 5 years, and no one could figure out what they were. I believe they had to do with my hormones. Mind you, I've been taking magnesium oil and many supplements. I stopped them all and just took these 2, and wow, awesome results. If you're looking for results, invest in your health and get these. Remag and Remite. You'll be thrilled you did. Awesome. Thank you, Lori. Nancy says, I've been using Remag for about 4 years since it was recommended by a healer nutritionist that I was working with at the time. It's also approved by my spiritual guidance for the highest good of my body. My body seems to be very happy with its benefits. Since I do my best to listen to my body wisdom, I shall continue using this wonderful product. I have also gotten my sister to use it as she was having terrible leg cramps at night. This has been helpful for her also. Blessings of love and vibrant health and well-being. Very sweet. Saba says, I'm absolutely happy with everything about Dr. Carolyn Dean's products and services. It's a lifesaver for me. I ask any question I have, I get the response immediately. I'm very content. And she's talking about our support at rnareset.com, our wonderful customer service. Doris says, I'm taking both Remag and Remite. I feel so much better. I'm not lightheaded and don't need my walker, only if I'm going to walk a great distance. I could never thank you enough. And Cora says, I've been using these essentials for several years, and I'm grateful that they come in a bundle so I can save money on my regular purchase. I've come to expect superior health from using these products along with a decent diet, exercise, and other daily habits to keep my mind, body, and spirit in balance. Thank you, Dr. Dean, for continuing to turn out superior products to keep my physical body functioning optimally. And that's it, 11 perfect testimonials.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's so sweet. And also Elma, our precious little Elmo in Kuwait, who was always listening to us, says, thank you, Dr. Dean, for giving me my health back, for saving me. Now I'm in good health. And I know she shares the products with her family members, and she's such a sweetheart. Every time I look on Instagram, I see Elma with a huge row of hearts on every single one of our posts.
Oh, now does she get them from people in Europe or directly from
No,
you?
she orders from us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she orders
all the way to Kuwait.
All the way to Kuwait. Zoom.
Yeah. Well, when I was in Dubai years ago for a conference, someone approached me. Was it from Qatar? They were trying to get them into Qatar. I don't know if that ever worked out. I don't think so.
Yes. Yeah. Qatar. Yeah. I think we did get them there. That was a doctor who wanted to do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so hard though. Even in Dubai, I met with some of the health ministry and this and that because the person who invited me over, he wanted to start a anti-aging clinic. And it was just so much bureaucracy. It was incredible. And I think he was from Syria. And he finally did get it going. But even so, the paperwork and bureaucracy to get supplements into Dubai was just crushing.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Well,
all right, love. Let's see how we're doing. We've got 4 minutes left before we have to wrap up the show. What else should we talk about? We're good on our Facebook messages. We've got everybody sorted out on YouTube. We're good on the Dream Vision. Nancy M is still there as per usual, always with us, listening on the Dream Vision 7 channel. Sally Dean was here tonight, and all of our fun people. Maria and Alan was here, and all kinds of good stuff. So what would we like to talk about real quick?
Let's mention our men's seminar next week. We've never done this before. I mean, the people who've come on to the show to give us testimonials, there have been men, but this will be a half a dozen men, chiming in and talking about their experience. And what we saw from what they wrote for us, which is in the book should be ready by then. You can download our free ebook. What is it? Total Body Health for Men. What's it called?
Total Body Health for Men. Yep.
Total Body Men.
Total Body Men.
What you'll notice is most of them talk about RNA reset drops.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a stable of men who've been with us for long enough, where the first products they got were the RNA reset drops. So they began there, and then they expanded using all the other products. But they have such incredible experiences from RNA reset drops that, Ginny and I, we want to emphasize that in the show next week, and somewhat in the book we talk about it. But we really have to get more people on the RNA reset drops. Are we going to do a sale, Ginny?
I believe we are. Yep. I think we're going to have a special sale after our webinar on the drops. And so that'll be fun. Yep.
Yeah. Because with something like the RNA reset drops, they do have a life force. In the radish experiment, which I talk about all the time, they repelled predators. And that's what we want our body to do, is to be strong against any attack. And people, they just totally benefit from them. And the dosage is, very small. I know I said I'm on a whole teaspoon. Bob's on a couple of tablespoons. We've been taking them for so long, but we do think they have anti-aging effects, and they're a catalyst for all our other products, or all our other formulas. In fact, I'm so persuaded of their benefits that we created a powder, RNA reset powder, which is just concentrated RNA drops, which are dehydrated RNA drops. And we put them in our Whole C Reset, in our Realign. What else do we put them in? Flora Revive.
And also they're in the Renew Serum.
Restructure.
Yeah.
Renew Serum. Right. So we're convinced that they're helping people, but to take the original RNA reset drops by mouth every day as a consistent prescription, it's helped so many people. We could just be doing that product as our only product, I think, and have incredible results, but we didn't want to stop there. I had to get the Remag going, then thought, oh, we need Remite. Oh, and what about this and what about that? I just couldn't stop.
She couldn't stop herself.
Nope.
Well, we're going to stop now for the show, but we'll be back next week, you guys, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we hope everybody had a great time tonight, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. Aloha.
Been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe.